because he's probably one of the worst examples there is about a cult.
Well, and he's one of these people, this was going back to the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
and where it was another era of cults. That's where the Unification Church came out of as well. And he styled himself as a reverend and a minister of God, and could quote Bible, etc., etc. I don't know the ins and outs of his particular theology, but he was able to use his charisma to take in vulnerable people. And that's another aspect of these cults, that they tend to prey on the vulnerable. You know, maybe they're widowed, or they're just, you know, struggling. Maybe they have depression, maybe a lot of different things. Maybe they've been on the outs with their family, other things like that, and he took advantage. And of course, once the authorities, because he was creating legal violations, and I'm sure there's some tax fraud involved and this kind of a thing. I don't know the exact, I can't remember actually the details, but they end up in Guyana, and he's convincing these people to drink arsenic or whatever it was, laced Kool-Aid, and 170 of them, around that number, died.
Actually,
following him.
Actually, it was above 900. There was a group from Congress came down to check him out, see what was going on, and a congressman came there, I guess, with a couple of his representatives, maybe the news media, and they confronted him about it. They confronted him about the money that he was making, because he had built quite a place down there, a runway and all of it, and they challenged him about, okay, what's going on with this money that you're getting? Well, what are you doing? And he didn't like that very much. He ended up killing them. There's people that were following him, ended up shooting these people at the airport. And as soon as that happened, that's when the Kool-Aid, that's when he induced his suicide death squad. But they'd been practicing that thing for a while, about, you know, if this ever comes to the point where they come down here and they try to invade us, you know, we're all going to commit suicide, as if that's some sort of notice that they're, you know, their truth. But over 900 people, 913 people died because of this guy who had the charisma and picked on people, like you said. They were in a place where they were, maybe had lost their family, maybe had lost other, you know, loved ones, this and that, and he was able to convince them to follow him. And it came pretty quickly. If you would have known the book, and you have to have the ability to turn and look and investigate what he's been saying to you. But again, if that's the counterfeit, then what we would like to know is what the real thing is.